And hello everybody, you're very welcome to a new brand story here on ITSPmagazine. We are coming to you from Hacker Summer Camp, Black Hat, Las Vegas, USA 2024. It's been a good show. You guys have a great booth down there, by the way.
Oh, thanks a lot. Yeah, we wanted to really make a splash, and I think we did. A lot of colors.
You did.
Yeah.
I love the colors. And the energy down there was good too.
Fantastic, yeah, we really loved it. We put some video there. We wanted to show the diversity of what we have to offer. And I think our marketing team just did an amazing job putting it all together.
And it was tall.
It was very tall.
We had to do a wide screen shot to capture that photo, which we haven't shared on social yet. People will get a chance to see that. I'm here with Tom Tovar. How are you, Tom?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
From Appdome, of course.
Yep. No worries. Appreciate it. Yep. Thanks for having me.
And so I had a chance to talk with one of your teammates, Brian Reed. We talked about some of the stuff you were doing with OWASP.
Yeah.
And that was a great chat from OWASP AppSec in Lisbon. I want to use this time to maybe take a step back and get what we call the origin story.
Okay.
Why you took the time to create Appdome.
Yep.
What were some of the challenges you saw that you wanted to overcome, and who are you doing that for?
Yep.
And of course, some of that starts with personal stories, typically as well. So maybe give us a little view of how this all came to be.
Yeah. Well, to tell the short version of the story is, I became a mobile developer very late in my career.
That's enough.
Yeah, exactly.
No, okay.
Exactly. I became a mobile developer very late in my career. So I started off as a corporate and securities lawyer, so in the tech boom.
Okay.
And then I went to a security company called NetScreen, which is a firewall company. I did a lot of operations, a lot of sales, a lot of BD, that typical things that a lawyer might do. Had a lot of success doing those kinds of roles, and then took 5 years off to climb mountains. And in that time that I was climbing mountains, I taught myself to code. Okay. Now, when you start to learn to code,
what are you, laptop on the
no, I did when I wasn't climbing. Okay. When I came down and I needed to take a break.
I was just seeing you on the peak.
Yeah, it would be nice, right?
Not
a lot
of
the battery doesn't do so well up there.
Assembly, reversing.
Yeah. The battery doesn't do so well in the high mountains, but. So when you're learning to code, particularly late in your career, you want to get there fast. You want to do things quick. You're using a lot of low code, no code platforms to build applications. You're using a lot of modern frameworks to build applications because it's just faster. You're not coding line by line by line. So as I started to do this, I was building mobile applications, and I came to the question of how do I secure them? And I went out and I looked at different products, looked at what was out there, and everything was forcing me to code line by line, which made me have to go to Stack Overflow. I had to go to YouTube videos, had to figure out how to do all this stuff, and it was really annoying. It was driving me nuts. So I was complaining about this to some of my VC friends. I was like, this is security stuff. Why can't we make it easy? Why can't we make it push a button? Why can't we make it a vending machine? It should be able to just click a button and be done. I don't understand why it's so hard, blah, 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 blah. And one of my venture capital friends said, well, why don't you just build that? And I was like, oh yeah, maybe we should do that. So that's what started. That's how I jumped right in and started looking at it and working to build what we have today.
And do you still code?
I do code. I'm not very good, but I've never been good at it. But the good news is our engineering team puts up with me. Every once in a while I'll give a small POC or something, and they giggle. They go, "It's a good idea, bad implementation." But it's still engineering's like that. It's a little like art. You kind of give people a picture of what you want, but you give enough detail where the people that really know how to do things can take it to the next level. Yeah. So I'm more of a POC creator at this stage. Yeah, but it works. It works.
I've seen what you do, so whatever you're doing is working.
Thanks.
And so let's talk about, security is fairly broad, and even mobile security, if you would look down to that, is still a big chunk of stuff.
Yeah.
So what's your definition of mobile security? What are you trying to accomplish with the one button?
Well, the thing is, so our whole view, or my whole design philosophy around the product was to solve the operational challenge of bringing defense into the mobile app and into the user's hands. So first step was making it simple, making it easy, eliminating friction. So the only thing that's really good, or the best thing to use to do that, is machine learning. So the first thing we built was a machine learning coding engine that did all the work for you. For a lot of classic security functions like encryption, obfuscation, anti-tampering, jailbreak and root, man in the middle. So we started coding different functionality into it. what we found over time is that you can actually use the same architectures and technologies to extend the defense model into things like malware, fraud, geo-compliance, anti-bot, EDR, XDR, MDM, and so forth and so on. So we realized that what we had stumbled upon was kind of a flexible, automated way of delivering security for mobile defense projects. And that's when it really got interesting. That's when we were like, well, as you say, security is not security. There's security, but there's all these other components that we can bring to bear and deliver it easily for customers. And that, for us, that was just like transformative. Just like, it was like, wow, like boom, we were there. And we're having a lot of fun at it. I mean, there's so much to do. As you said, there's so many different attack vectors. I mean, you've been in this space a long time, so you know, like me, you know that it's not one-dimensional. The attack surface is very multi-dimensional. And if you're a modern brand or enterprise, you got to be prepared for all of it.
And we're talking about, just so folks listening, we're talking about a retailer building a retailer app for their customers, or a manufacturing company building an app for their supply chain, or whatever it is.
It could be any kind of application, whether it's consumer-facing applications for mobile banks, could be mobile games, could be retail, hotels, airlines, could be anything that we use on a daily basis, including social media. But it's also employee-facing apps, apps that we use in a work-from-home world to be more productive, to be more, to be better at our jobs, to do more with less. And I think in both cases, the attack surface is just as broad, it's just as diverse, it's different, but it's just as broad and just as diverse. And the challenge, if you're a CISO, is how do I solve both? And these days, as you know, we're all talking about platforms. We're all talking about bringing it together under one single pane of glass.
Someday we'll get there.
Yeah.
I think you're there, or if not, very close to it. Let's talk about the landscape. So you had this drive for yourself. You start the company, you start building things. Where do we sit in terms of, let's speak to the CISOs here. So they struggle with this.
Yep.
They have teams that are building stuff, they're trying to run this, they're cloud ops and IT ops, and their SecOps teams are trying to figure out how to build, deploy, manage, and maintain these things safely. Where do we sit in terms of capabilities for them to actually get their handle on this?
The evolution of the role and everything else. So I'd say in the web and in the cloud security world, CISOs and cyber teams have been a great evolution from advisory into operational line responsibility. In the web and cloud, they have tools and systems, technologies and products right now to deploy literally and to own the deployment of literally any class of defense that they need. Push a button, make it done, right? In mobile, however, they're still in the dark ages of the advisory role. They don't own the means of delivery. The dev team does. So they're really
hope they build this
exactly. So they're putting a lot of trust and a lot of faith for their objectives in another department that they don't run and they don't control, who has different priorities. So a lot of conflict happens. So where we come in is really to kind of help the cyber team kind of have the same level of control, have the same level of management, have the same level of visibility in mobile as they do in cloud and web. So it's not that they can't do it, is that they haven't had the tools to do it. They're already an operational role, and if you're the best CISO in the world, you already have your hands on the button. You already know that you've got to control how to deploy the defense, right? Otherwise, you're toast. So what's true for web and cloud has to be true for mobile. Otherwise you can't do the job.
So I think it's time, and I'm going to encourage everybody to listen to the other conversation I had with Brian, but I think it's time for you to describe what you do. A scenario of an app idea to development to deployment with security there, because it's phenomenal. I have to say what you've done.
So in a classic DevSecOps process or shift left philosophy, you're building an application and you want to get security into the build process as early as possible, right? That's shift left. The classic way we've done that in the mobile world is we do pen tests or code scans of the code, and then if there's vulnerabilities or gaps in the security model, we open up tickets with the development team and ask the developer to fix this. A lot of time developer doesn't have time, a lot of times they're under the gun to deliver an app. We have to give waivers, we have to let the app get out the door, we have to fix it the next go around, and so forth. Anyway, gaps exist. What Appdome does is we're a system that you install in the CI/CD pipeline, and the cyber team instruments the defense model that they want by choosing just literally just turning on features that they want. And then the dev team issues the build command from their build system, and our machine learning codes everything into the application for them. So they can literally deploy 340 different defenses under a minute and a half, and everything is coded for them. There's no dependency on the dev team, there's no SDK, there's nothing they have to do. Everything gets coded into the application, and then it continues on with the pipeline, and you release the app.
Goes on to test.
Exactly, goes on to test, goes on to release, and everything else. So it's all about automation. So in a world where you've got less resources, you've got less headcount, maybe you've got less time from the dev team, or whether you're trying to take on an operational responsibility and be the owner of the own deployment, Appdome is a perfect complement to all the other tools that you have for web and cloud, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, this notion of having a platform that, and our customers will come to us on a regular basis and say, hey, can you solve this other problem for us? And we'll say, yes, we can, and we'll add a feature and just give them that same turn it on, see it, solve it capability to deploy in the app. So it's kind of magical. But it's not magic; it's tech, and we're doing it right. I think.
And you've done. I've seen the UI. It's
Well, I didn't make the UI, so there's some really great designers out there. Always get a good designer. So that's my
UI. It looks cool, but to see what's possible there and all the different capabilities that they can.
Well, we wanted the product on the UI side to be just as intuitive as because again, if you're running a business, whether it's a pizza shop or a cyber shop, it's got to be an efficient business.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to do repeated, repetitive, consistent, quality assurance, getting it out the door. So the UI is very important. You got to be able to look at it to understand how to use it. Your onboarding time for new teammates has to be really short. What I'm really excited about is we're also now bringing in Gen AI to solve the friction for the end user when they're under attack. And if you want to know more about that, I can tell you.
Let's do it.
Okay. So in a classic scenario, whether you're a consumer or an employee, you have a mobile device that's in your hand, and God only knows what happens with that, right? Maybe your kids get a hold of it, maybe you click on a link you shouldn't, or what have you. Malware gets installed on your device. If the defenses are working properly, the defense will detect that malware on the device and not allow you to use that application, right? We'll protect the business, we'll protect your account, and not allow you to use the application. However, there's a business problem. You can't use the application.
Right.
And the goal of the business is to get you to use that application, whether you're a banking customer, whether you're booking a trip for your honeymoon, or whether you're a workforce
trying to onboard you as a customer.
Exactly, whatever it is, right? So there's a business problem. So the question is, how do we get you as a user past that attack and get you back to using the app? Okay? So it turns out that if you can take telemetry and intelligence from that attack, which we have, and we can feed that into AI models, which we've created, we can generate, using Gen AI, all the what is it, how to find it, and how to fix it, instructions that a support organization can give to the end user. So the end user can say, okay, I've got this threat on my device, this is why the brand is protecting me, this is how I find it on my device, and this is how I remove it. All of a sudden you get instant automatic support for the end user, and the end user now can get past their own attack, self-serve, and get back to using the app. And also, you can increase cyber awareness for the whole global community.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and do cyber awareness training in that moment for employees. So it's even better.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible. So is this something that's deployed at the moment?
Yeah, we just announced it just before Black Hat. We just announced it a couple of days before Black Hat. We're demoing it all the time at Black Hat. It's kind of amazing because here's the thing, cyber awareness inside enterprises is a big topic, right? How do you train people? How do you train people to be aware of the threats and why they shouldn't download on links and so forth? Instead of making the defense, the security a negative, right? You've done something wrong, flip it around, use it as an education moment so that now your users know the consequence of clicking on that link or doing something bad. Use that moment to educate them and let them self-serve to remediate. and then you get productive users back, and you get active consumers back.
Yeah.
So
it's the whole goal.
Yeah.
It's the whole goal. So have you done proof of concepts with customers? Have they?
Yeah. I mean, I can't tell you who exactly,
course,
but
yeah.
yeah.
I'm sure they've seen.
I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing. And here's the thing. So you can't use Gen AI for everything. So again, as a developer, it's not a be-all, end-all of anything. Large language models have their limits, but what they're really good at doing is synthesizing a lot of unstructured data and giving kind of bullet point steps to follow. So, give me a recipe for a cake, to make a chocolate cake or something. Right. Blah, 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 blah. I want the cake to have this number of calories and this number of carbohydrates, whatever, blah, 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 and it'll do that. You tell it your specifications and it'll tell it back. Yeah. So it's very good at doing things like that. So you can do the same thing with threat resolution and threat discovery by giving it enough telemetry to know, like, what is a threat, what kind of device is it, what operating system is it, what network is the consumer or the user on, et cetera, et cetera. And it can go out on the internet and pull all this information in and give you step-by-step alternatives for how to resolve that. So our customers are like, wow, like holy moly. And literally they're saying, where are you guys getting these answers? And we just tell them it's Gen AI. And they're like, oh my God, you're making it so easy for us, because without it, what's the user going to do? Yeah. You got to go Google how to get this off your phone, and that's a lot of Googling. That's a lot of Googling, and you get frustrated.
Well, just like with Gen AI, you have to know what to prompt
exactly.
to get the answer. Same with the Google search, you have to know what to search for.
Yeah, exactly.
Most users.
Because you can get a lot of garbage too if you don't know what to do. So we're handling all that for the enterprise and the brand. Now my hope is that someday we'll integrate that capability directly into the application, so that when you face an attack, it'll say, learn more, you click it, and inside the app experience you get all that information. We're not there yet, but I think we're going to be there really soon. So,
well, even just having that info handy is incredible. What's I want to close because we're about to wrap here. I want to talk about the impact you're having for your customers. So trying to build this stuff in manually, who knows how many cycles and days and hours that it would take to do this. So what's some of the feedback or comments that you're getting back from customers that I don't know, is it how many apps are being used or built?
So we have 144,000 and more applications on Appdome today.
Okay.
We handle over 11,000 builds daily. So it's a pretty robust, like SaaS platform that people are plugged into using on a regular basis. I sometimes just turn on the back end and stare at it because I like seeing application brands just go bleep, 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 with all of their different configurations, the permutations of choices that people are making, and the types of applications, how they're built, what's inside of them, and all of that. I can see all that. It's amazing, the diversity of defense models and so forth. Funny story, you asked about the origin story. When we first launched Appdome, we only had one defense. And so with one defense, automation doesn't make much sense. So people were like, I can do that myself. Well, who cares, right? And then we had two. And people were like, no. And 2 became 4, and 4 became 8, 8 became 16, then 32, and so forth. And we just kept doubling the number of defenses over time. I don't really know what the tipping point was, but somewhere around 30-ish defenses, people were like, okay, we can't do that ourselves. And now we're at 300-400 defenses, and everyone's just like, okay, you guys have it all. Like, it's just.
And let's not forget that each defense has some.
Exactly. Each defense has multiple sub things that we do. So if you were trying to do all of this yourself, you'd either have to procure 20 different point products and have an entire engineering team dedicated to it, or someone said to me today at Black Hat, so you guys are like the Amazon, just click it and ship it. And I'm like, exactly. You just click it and ship it for your mobile defense. And so we're having a lot of fun with it. So
I know we're out of time, but I always have one more question. Someone asked one more question because it's on this point of the different protections and the sub elements within them. that has to fit the business, right? The customer needs to be able to tune that to their risk appetite, their environment that they operate in. Is it an internal employee? Is it an external customer? So tell me quickly about...
Yeah, I think where we're going to get to, which is a very interesting question, right now the customer has all the choices. Right. The customer chooses what defense to turn on, what defense to leave off, okay? And that makes sense. But a lot of our customers are also saying at 300, 400, what's looking to be 600, 700 defenses over time, Appdome might get to the point where you have overloaded our team's ability to make good choices. So what we're going to be doing in 2025, to give you a little bit of our vision, is to use AI modeling to give recommendations to users and then ultimately have an auto-defend capability where as you're building applications, we inspect the structure of the app, we understand what the app does, functionally, and then we just automatically adjust the defense model based on all the data that we have so that people can just do auto-defend. I don't think anybody is willing to do that today because it's too many questions. But I think in the next 3 to 5 years, I think you will see auto-defend kind of be a thing that everyone will want. Today, choice is king. The ability to turn something on and get it out in the field as quickly as possible. If you got an attack and you can see the attack in our system, because we give telemetry and data, visualization, if you can see it and solve it in a minute and a half, that's a pretty good response time. So incident response, boom. Yeah, so that's really what it's about right now. Giving the user choice, eliminating friction, spreading some education along the way, making it easy on folks, and then down the line, keep building in AI capabilities to make it even more simple. All right, cool. And hopefully we'll be around next year, and we'll even have more to talk about.
An updated chat on that.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. Okay, cool.
Well, Tom, thanks a million.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. And thanks to everyone at Black Hat for coming by and checking us out.
Exactly what he said.